नमस्कार, स्वागत है आप सबका फॉलो द ब्लूज लाइव पर। वादे के पक्के हैं हम, रोज शाम 5 बजे आने का वादा करते हैं। आज भी आए हैं। मेरा नाम है तरह तिवारी। देखिए, हम ना बहुत सारी खुशियां मनाते हुए आए हैं भारतीय टीम के इर्द गिर्द, लेकिन भारतीय टीम ऐसी है, उसके इर्द गिर्द सवाल भी आते हैं, खबरें भी आती हैं। उसका सारा विवरण, सारी एनालिसिस, सारी कहानियों पर चर्चा होगी आज यहाँ फॉलो द ब्लूज लाइव पर। बहुत बहुत स्वागत करना चाहूंगा मैं जॉर्ज बिनॉय का, इंडिया एडिटर, ESPN क्रिकेट इन्फो। बहुत दिन बाद इन पर्सन मिल रहे हैं हम जॉर्ज। वेलकम अलोंग। एक इंसान जिनसे अभी भी हम इन पर्सन नहीं मिल पाए, नागराज गोलापुरी, सीनियर जर्नलिस्ट, ESPN क्रिक इन्फो, जॉइनिंग अस फ्रॉम इंग्लैंड। धूप चमक रही है आज तो लग रहा है नागराज भाई? नहीं, इज इट सनी? नो,
दिखाऊं?
नहीं,
बादल छाए हुए यहाँ पे।
He's like, I wish.
ये ग्रे पहना है, ग्रे ही है बाहर भी
ग्रे है। कोई बात नहीं, हम है ना, हम लेकर आएंगे अपने फैंस के लिए जितनी भी धूप है आ सकती है, जितनी भी न्यूज एनालिसिस से आ सकती है। नाउ द वन बिग रिपोर्ट दैट्स कम आउट आफ्टर दैट विक्ट्री, जस्ट व्हेन वी वर just about celebrating the Jasprit Bumrah, how well has he done, suddenly ये खबर आ रही है कि Jasprit Bumrah might not be available for that Rajkot test. It's still a report, nothing confirmed. If that is the case, 1-1 is the series. How big a blow will that be?
It's unquestionably, a big issue that India will have to deal with. Bumrah was the difference in Hyderabad, in Vizag, and now they'll have to find another fast bowler, which probably be Mohammad Siraj if the reports are true.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right, Bumrah will have to be mindful that he's probably the best judge of where his body is at.
Fair enough.
He's come back from a huge injury last year. Just before the Asia Cup, he came back, and we don't want to look short term with Jasprit Bumrah. There's a big year coming up. India play 5 tests in Australia at the end of this year. There's the T20 World Cup in the US and the West Indies. So if he feels like he needs a break, if the team management feels like it will be better to rest him for this one test rather than risk anything, it's possibly the right call. And cricket is a team game. 11 other players will take the field and try to win the Rajkot test for India.
Now that is so true, but इसमें भी ना दो स्कूल ऑफ थॉट्स हैं। अब जो फैंस हैं उन्होंने देखा है विशाखापट्टनम टेस्ट मैच, रिकॉर्ड्स देखे हैं जसप्रीत बुमराह जिस तरीके से एशिया में गेंदबाजी कर रहे हैं, आप उनका औसत देखेंगे। टेस्ट क्रिकेट में 150 से ज्यादा विकेट्स लेने वाले गेंदबाजों में दूसरा बेस्ट जसप्रीत बुमराह का औसत है। लेकिन अगर आप एशियाई गेंदबाजों की बात करें, यहाँ पर कुछ शानदार नाम है। आप इमरान खान की बात करते हैं, वकार यूनिस की बात करते हैं, वसीम अकरम की बात करते हैं, उनसे बेहतर औसत एशिया में गेंदबाजी करते हुए। और ये विशाखापट्टनम में नागराज बहुत अपैरेंट था कि जब रोहित शर्मा को विकेट चाहिए था, जब आपको लगा कि पार्टनरशिप बन रही है, इंग्लैंड थोड़ा सा गेम आपसे दूर लेकर जा रही है, आप हर बार जसप्रीत बुमराह की तरफ देख रहे थे। ऐसे में 100% agree with George that it is a team game. You can't rely on one guy, but when that one guy is Jasprit Bumrah, you can't help but over rely on him.
Yeah, Bumrah has a body that needs to be preserved. That needs
Absolutely.
to especially after the back surgery that he went through, the amount of failed comebacks that happened, if you remember, all through the sort of rehab that he had to go through again, and he himself was determined that if he makes a comeback it should be long term and he doesn't want to break down again. And also I think the NCA, the National Cricket Academy, where the BCCI has medical staff sits, they took matters in their hands and they decided that okay, fine, I think this time we have to kind of ensure that when he goes to a tournament like a World Cup, he will be fully fit and he can last and kind of carry out that workload, which would be, because as a strike bowler, he, as you said, the captain or the coach will always think of him first before anybody else. And he has proven that in the World Cup. He was the impact player, he was the match winner, he broke partnerships, he set up people. He comes to a big series. He was confident that he could take on England's aggressive style of batting and bag wickets at 15 wickets after 2 matches. He is the only fast bowler, I think, with wickets in double digits, highest wicket taker so far with 3 matches to go. So no doubt if Bumrah does sit out, then it would be a big hole which can't be filled by anybody. But going back to the news itself, since I'm in London, I'm waking up later. It seems like there is a chatter about it internally, and it's a decision, if it is true, it's been like, I think this plan was the plan. I can't 100% say it, but the plan could have been that Bumrah would sit out this test match. So this is a team management is also involved. I do not know conclusively or definitively whether it is the player's call. I don't see, because everyone will question if it's a player's call, what's happening. He is like the highest match, like he's having such a great series. There is a 9-day break. Isn't that enough going into, like, you would want the series to India to lead the series at least or something. So, but these are things that still are unanswered. So yes, if Bumrah doesn't play, I'll go one step ahead. If Bumrah doesn't play, I think India really have a big headache on their hands, because the way the pitches have been prepared so far, they're sporting pitches, but they're not entirely like ranked turners where India spinners can dominate completely. So if that trend stays, then Bumrah's absence will be felt at every point, each time India is in trouble.
That's right. और हम ये चर्चा करते रहेंगे बार-बार, लेकिन फिर it's like playing devil's advocate with your own self, क्योंकि आप बार-बार ये भी कह रहे हैं, जैसा जॉर्ज ने भी कहा, जैसा नागा ने भी कहा, कि जसप्रीत बुमराह है वो, उनको प्रोटेक्ट करना पड़ेगा, आपको लॉन्ग टर्म सोचना पड़ेगा, जैसा जॉर्ज ने कहा, क्योंकि एक बहुत बड़ा साल है, एक T20 वर्ल्ड कप है, उसके पहले वो IPL खेलेंगे, उसके बाद भी बहुत सारी क्रिकेट खेलनी है. ही इज ओनली 30, so you have to look at it from that perspective as well. It's still an if. It's a big if. तो अभी रुकते हैं, बहुत समय उस टेस्ट मैच के लिए, उसके इर्द गिर्द सिलेक्शन इश्यूज और भी हैं, सिलेक्शन पर सवाल और भी हैं, उस पर चर्चा करेंगे. लेकिन इफ दैट हैपेंस, मोहम्मद सिराज comes in for you.
Yes, Raj would be the logical choice. They gave him a break for the second test because of his workload and all of that. So then he would have had like a good 2.5 weeks off, out of competitive cricket. He should come back refreshed and definitely be the first choice fast bowler for that test.
नागा, आपके लिए भी सिराज?
हाँ, अगर इन टर्म्स ऑफ सीनियोरिटी आप देखें तो चॉइस सिराज ही हो सकती है, पहली फर्स्ट चॉइस, क्योंकि और एक जो फास्ट बॉलर जो खेल चुके हैं ये सीरीज वो है मुकेश कुमार. लेकिन आप सिराज को भी देखो तो और मुकेश को भी देखो तो दोनों ने ज़्यादा बॉलिंग नहीं डाली है ये सीरीज में. सिराज ने कितने ओवर, आई थिंक 11 ओवर डाले थे हैदराबाद में, और इस मैच में तो मुकेश को बहुत लेट इंट्रोड्यूस करवाया गया था. सेकेंड इनिंग्स में उनको तो बहुत लेट लाया गया था, जब तक रिवर्स स्विंग नहीं है उनको, उनकी स्पीड वो सब देख के, और जिस हिसाब से इंग्लैंड बैटर खेल रहे थे, डोमिनेट कर रहे थे, इवन फॉर दैट मैटर हमने जो कल बात की, पहला स्पेल जो बुमराह ने डाला था उसमें उनको भी कंफर्टेबली क्रॉली टाइप बैटर ने खेल रहा था. तो मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि फर्स्ट चॉइस सिराज ही होगा. बट गोइंग बैक टू सिराज, इफ आई कैन talk about him. I was surprised actually when that news came that he is not going to be, he's rested. I was like surprised. Then I realized this morning when we were just having a call, then people pointed out that actually look at his workload, and his workload has been immense. If you compare the workload of Siraj and Bumrah, it's two different things. In terms of numbers, I don't have concrete numbers as of now, but they're two different ones. Bumrah didn't play for half of 2023.
Exactly.
He came straight to the World Cup. So that's another surprise, that it's like, what is this break? But then that's why I go back. There might have been a plan. I was surprised that Siraj didn't play this match, the second match, if they were playing two seamers. So which means they had planned it originally that they are going to give their fast bowlers, the two senior fast bowlers, some break during the series. So, but talking about Siraj, he has played 7 matches at home. He's got 7 wickets. His last few matches, the last series that India played at Australia was ranked turners. He didn't have much to say. The one thing that stands in his favor now is that he has experience of having bowled a lot of overs overseas also, and as far as reverse swing goes, he can handle his own. So that's where he will be lethal. And after this break, that 2.5 week break that he has got now, having missed this, being absent from this test, second test, he will be rejuvenated. And also, if Bumrah doesn't play, then he becomes that senior bowler, so that responsibility falls on his shoulder, and that might spur him on to do hold his own and kind of lead India's bowling attack.
हमने देखा है रीसेंट फॉर्म बहुत शानदार रहा है उनका. उस केप टाउन टेस्ट में हमने देखा 6 विकेट्स निकाले उन्होंने. लेकिन इफ, आप सारे व्यूअर्स से मेरा सवाल है, इफ, बहुत बड़ा इफ है, लेकिन अगर जसप्रीत बुमराह वो राजकोट टेस्ट मैच नहीं खेलते हैं, यहाँ फॉलो द ब्लूज लाइव पर तो ये कंसेंसस बन रहा है कि मोहम्मद सिराज खेले. आप क्या कह रहे हैं? आपके हिसाब से कैसा दिखेगा भारत का बॉलिंग अटैक? हमें बताइए कमेंट सेक्शन में, जहां भी आप देख रहे हैं. और सिर्फ गेंदबाजी अटैक की बात नहीं है, there are questions around the batting also, around that one big name, and those questions have to be asked, and they were asked of India's head coach Rahul Dravid. उनसे पूछा गया कि विराट कोहली की अवेलेबिलिटी के बारे में क्या अपडेट है आखिरी 3 टेस्ट मैचेस के लिए। उन्होंने कहा हम विराट कोहली से बात करेंगे और सीरीज के बचे हुए मैचेस में उनकी टीम में वापसी के बारे में पता करेंगे। It's still speculative. उन्होंने पर्सनल रीजन से पहले 2 टेस्ट मैचेस से ब्रेक लिया था। 3 still remain. There's still a lot of time for that, even for that 3rd test to begin. Changes galore incoming in that Rajkot test match.
Yeah, with Kohli, we'll just have to wait and see what the selectors decide. His friend AB de Villiers on online during an interview, he let out the reason as to why Kohli might be away from the team right now. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. There's no clarity yet. The question for me is, the squad is going to be announced in the next few days.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a gap. The question is whether KL Rahul is fit to come in to that and strengthen that middle order. He was India's best batter in that Hyderabad test, and I think that is what India will be really hoping for, that he's fit enough to come and strengthen what was an inexperienced middle order.
Now we did hear the reports as George is saying, Naga, that KL Rahul शायद वापस आएंगे। रविंद्र जडेजा पर शंका ज्यादा है, KL राहुल आ सकते हैं उस तीसरे टेस्ट मैच के लिए। Now again, selection dilemma. अगर KL राहुल आते हैं तो बाहर कौन बैठ रहा है?
बताओ।
हाँ जी, आप रिवर्स नहीं कर सकते। This is not Uno reverse card. आप मेरे ऊपर रिवर्स नहीं कर सकते। My job is to only ask questions. I have no answers, sir. Mine is the easiest job. आप बताएंगे कौन बैठेगा बाहर?
यार प्रेशर तो एक पे है।
Yeah.
Shreyas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think with Gill scoring a century, you can't ask him to sit down, and he's playing the number 3 position. So you're not going to ask him to sit down. So but wait, we are not talking. Shreyas also will play. Rajat Patidar.
Yeah,
Patidar will sit out clearly if KL comes back. But यार ये पंगा है कि जब clarity नहीं होती है तो ये speculation आ जाता है। जब मैंने पहली बार जब injury हुई थी Jadeja and KL की, the first things that were coming out of the camp was like, oh, so Jadeja is. What is it? Jadeja is likely to come back for the 3rd test, and KL might miss longer. Now it's the other way around. So we'll have to just wait, and that's the thing. I mean, if there is more clarity from BCCI on these kind of, if there is a medical report, that becomes much. But if KL comes back, then it's clear. I think it's Patidar who sets it out, and then you have again a strong batting lineup. India will take, like George said, that KL Rahul was the best batter along with Jadeja in that Hyderabad test, especially in that first inning. So in that sense, you have a batting order barring Shreyas who have got runs now from Yashasvi, and Rohit is the other guy. But Rohit, with that, you would think that he will bounce back. They would want Rohit, and the focus will be, as far as the batters go, the focus will be on Rohit and Shreyas. So KL comes in, Patidar sits out.
उस रिपोर्ट पे वो जो केएल राहुल रविंद्र जडेजा की रिपोर्ट थी उस पे भी ऐसा ही उनो रिवर्स कार्ड खेला था जैसा आपने मेरे ऊपर खेल दिया था अभी। मेरे पास जवाब नहीं, जवाब आप ही के पास है। लेकिन देखिए ये उनो रिवर्स कार्ड खेलने का ऑप्शन भारतीय हेड कोच के पास नहीं था। कोच राहुल द्रविड़ से पिचेस पर सवाल पूछे गए, उनसे पूछा गया कि द नेचर ऑफ दीज पिचेस, और उन्होंने कहा देखिए क्यूरेटर्स पिच बनाते हैं, हम उनसे टर्निंग पिचेस की मांग नहीं करते हैं। अब कुछ दिन पहले हमने देखा था पूर्व भारतीय कप्तान बीसीसीआई के पूर्व प्रेसिडेंट सौरव गांगुली ने कहा था कि आप जब आपके पास ऐसा बॉलिंग अटैक हो तो आप स्पोर्टिंग ट्रैक्स देखना चाहते हैं, आप रैंक टर्नर्स नहीं देखना चाहते हैं। कोच राहुल द्रविड़ ने कहा भारत में पिचेस से टर्न तो मिलेगी, सवाल सिर्फ ये होता है कि ज्यादा स्पिन होगी या कम होगी। उन्होंने कहा वो पिच के एक्सपर्ट नहीं है, लेकिन इतना समझते हैं कि भारत में चौथे और पांचवें दिन के खेल में गेंद टर्न जरूर होती है। उन्होंने कहा कई बार मुझे कहा जाता है कि तीसरे दिन से बॉल स्पिन होगी, लेकिन पहले दिन से ही होने लग जाती है। कई बार कहा जाता है दूसरे दिन से टर्न मिलेगी, लेकिन चौथे दिन तक नहीं मिलती। ये पूरा मसला क्या है जॉर्ज? व्हाट इज हैपनिंग विद दीस पिचेस? डज एनीवन नो एनीथिंग अबाउट द पिचेस?
It's a good question. So now, see, but to be honest, in this series, even the Hyderabad pitch was not a ranked turn.
That's right.
Yeah, it was not like the Ahmedabad pitches that England played on their previous tour over here. There was a turn in Hyderabad on the first day, but it was not a ranked turner. You could bat on that pitch. The pitch in Vizag was a more traditional Indian pitch from in the days before these ranked turners came into existence. And see, I personally quite enjoyed the Vizag pitch because you got to see good batting on it. But and you needed to be a good bowler to take wickets on it. There were Bumrah and Anderson both bowled well. Great fast bowlers, and then you saw like good spin bowling also take wickets. It wasn't like the wickets don't come cheap.
Yeah, correct.
It has to be earned, and it still ended on the fourth day. That might be because England, approached their batting the way they do. But yeah, it was not a flat batting wicket either.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen rank turners yet in the series, and we may not see rank turners going forward also, I think, because I think the gap between India and England reduced on a rank turner because of the way England bat.
Fair enough. Correct. Yeah. देखिए भाई, पिचेस के बारे में किसी को कुछ पता हो या ना हो, एक और ऐसा माजरा है जिसके इर्द गिर्द सवाल बहुत सारे हैं। कोच राहुल द्रविड़ से पूछा गया ईशान किशन की अवेलेबिलिटी के बारे में, और उन्होंने कहा हर खिलाड़ी टीम में वापसी कर सकता है, ऐसा नहीं है कि हमने किसी खिलाड़ी को अपने प्लान से बाहर कर दिया है। उन्होंने कहा कि मैं बार बार ईशान किशन पर अपनी बात दोहराना नहीं चाहता हूं। उन्होंने कहा उसके इस पूरे माजरे के बारे में पहले ही बहुत बार एक्सप्लेन कर चुके हैं वो। उन्होंने कहा ईशान किशन ने, जैसा हमने आपको बताया था यहीं फॉलो द ब्लूज लाइव पर भी, कि उन्होंने टीम से ब्रेक मांगा था और टीम ने खुशी खुशी उन्हें एक ब्रेक दिया। उन्होंने कहा मैंने ऐसा कहा कि उन्हें घरेलू क्रिकेट खेलना होगा। उन्होंने कहा मैंने सिर्फ इतना कहा जब वो तैयार हो तब वापस आए। हम लगातार ईशान किशन से बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उन्हें किसी भी चीज के लिए फोर्स नहीं कर रहे हैं। अभी उन्होंने क्रिकेट खेलना शुरू नहीं किया है, इसलिए इस टीम में उनकी वापसी के बारे में हम नहीं सोच रहे हैं, क्योंकि शायद वो अभी खेलने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। ऋषभ पंत के ना होने से सिलेक्टर्स के पास विकल्प खुले हुए हैं। तो द मैसेज लार्जली इज क्लियर टू ईशान किशन कि अगर आपको टीम में वापस आना है तो आपको डोमेस्टिक क्रिकेट खेलना होगा। लेकिन एक टाइमलाइन देखते हैं, और उसके बाद मैं दोनों ही नागा और जॉर्ज से बात करूंगा, इस बारे में चर्चा और करेंगे। लेकिन एक पूरी टाइमलाइन है ईशान किशन के इस पूरी जर्नी की हालिया समय में। टीम इंडिया में गैर मौजूदगी, फिर एशिया कप में आए, टीम का हिस्सा थे ईशान। उसके बाद वर्ल्ड कप में सिर्फ 2 मैचेस में मौका मिला, ट्रैवल करते रहे पूरे समय, लेकिन सिर्फ 2 मैचेस खेलने का मौका मिला। ऑस्ट्रेलिया के खिलाफ 5 T20 मैचेस की सीरीज का हिस्सा बने, 3 मैचेस खेले, 2 में बाहर बैठे। साउथ अफ्रीका के जो 3 T20 आइज थे वहां भी स्क्वाड के साथ जरूर थे, लेकिन बाहर बैठे रहे। जिसके बाद टेस्ट टीम में भी शामिल थे, लेकिन उस टेस्ट सीरीज की शुरुआत से बिल्कुल पहले उन्होंने कहा कि मुझे थोड़ा रेस्ट चाहिए, थोड़ा सा समय चाहिए। उसके बाद जब अफगानिस्तान के लिए सीरीज आई तो सिलेक्शन के लिए उपलब्ध नहीं बताए गए, इंग्लैंड टेस्ट सीरीज के लिए कर दिए गए टीम से ड्रॉप। तो इट्स बीन अ लॉन्गेस्ट जर्नी नागा। मतलब हमने देखा कि कहां से शुरुआत हुई और बहुत समय से टीम के साथ ट्रैवल करते रहे, एंड सच इज द नेचर ऑफ इंडियन क्रिकेट रियली। एक स्पॉट के लिए बहुत सारे कॉम्पिटिशंस होते हैं, तो आपको बहुत समय तक बाहर बैठना पड़ता है। बट what is this saga? Is it just Ishan Kishan growing tired of sitting on the sidelines and saying, I need a break, or is there more to it?
Yeah, I wish I was the fly on the wall to tell you inside reports, but I can tell you one thing is that with Ishan Kishan, what Dravid said, he's explained it very well, right through from South Africa, that the player asked for a break. The management said, fine, go ahead. The selectors were involved. So obviously he was not part of the squad when it was picked for the England test, for the first 2 tests. Now the question was raised again in the light of KS Bharat's batting being sort of not that fluent, or him not converting the starts. And so the question was asked. So Dravid said that it was a 2-part answer, because it was a 2-part question. One about Bharat's batting, and in related to that, what is happening with Kishan. So Dravid just said simply that he has to play domestic cricket, and that's his call, right? That when he plays and he tells the selectors or whoever is concerned that he's going to play. From what I've gathered, there has not been, at least this was about a week ago when I checked with those close to Kishan, that there was no clue as to when he is going to resume playing cricket. So if you're not playing cricket for, when was the last he played? He must have played that white ball series in South Africa, right? In December, mid-December. So from mid-December, and we are talking about straight away mid-Feb, if 2 months a player has not played, what do? You of course you want him to play cricket, to figure out how his form is, etc. So the responsibility, the onus now is on Kishan to take that next step. Tell the selectors that he's coming back to Ranji or playing for Jharkhand, play that, and then of course there is IPL. So it's not in his hand. The selection is not in his hands, but to make him once again, to put himself back on the roster. He's part of the pool, but put himself back in the front of the queue. He has to perform. So simply put, that's it. I mean, no matter how many times you ask the question to whether Rohit or Dravid or Ajit Agarkar, the answers are going to be the same. It's the player's responsibility now. As for, yeah, I mean, that's how I see it, yeah.
परफॉर्मेंसेस दिखाने होंगे और खुद हेड कोच राहुल द्रविड़ ने भी कहा कि अगर आपको आना है तो वो रास्ता बहुत सीधा है, आप जब से क्रिकेट खेलने की शुरुआत कर देंगे तब से हम देख लेंगे। नागा, आप कुछ कहने वाले?
Yeah, related in a way to that is also Bharat, like I was saying. Bharat is a front runner, has been a front runner, has been the first pick and will remain the first pick. I still feel for the rest of the series, especially the next 2 test matches, because he is among the keepers that are available, he remains who are fit. I'm saying, I'm not talking those who are sitting like Pant, etc. I'm not talking those guys. He's your best keeper on these kind of pitches. They might not be ranked turners, but they're still turning, right? So going back to the pitch discussion, so I feel Bharat will keep his place. Yes, but even Dravid agreed that his batting needs to be worked upon, and surely they will work on that. But going back to the pitches, there has been, I think, sort of a narrative in a way that is building up or gaining momentum about Vizag pitch being a flat pitch, which I completely disagree with. I don't see that being a flat pitch. If it is a flat pitch, a 41-year-old can't get that subtle movement and get those wickets. The spells that, forget Bumrah, even Anderson bowled, you can't bowl that on a flat pitch on both the innings. You have to have the pitch needs to have. And the thing that I found out is there was moisture. The one key difference, if you notice, between Hyderabad and Vizag pitches was the pace of the pitch. So Hyderabad was slow on the slow side, no doubt. There was more turn and a natural variation there, where the spinners thought they could kind of have a bigger say, but the pace was slow, so they were challenged by that. Whereas in Vizag, if you look at the bounce, it was good. The carry was pretty good, because the moisture was retained. The curator had retained that moisture throughout those 4 days the play lasted. What spinners were challenged by was, I mean, you look at Kuldeep, he could get spin. The degree of spin was lesser compared to a ranked turner where it is 4 to 5 degrees, well, at least 4 degrees. Whereas here the degree of spin is in like around 1-ish between, I didn't see the exact number, let's say put 1 about. So that challenged even senior spinners like Ashwin, for that matter, on Aksar. They were challenged. They had to kind of think differently. So, and the way, obviously, England batters have taken on spin. So I feel that even if you make a ranked turner, England's mode of the mindset of how they are going to tackle play spin is not going to change. So, in fact, making a ranked turner might backfire on India.
All right, then. That's very interesting. और कुछ देर पहले जॉर्ज भी ऐसी बात कह रहे थे. उन्होंने कहा कि वो शायद गैप कम कर देगा अगर कोई रैंक टर्नर बनेगा. You agree with that assessment of the Vizag pitch?
Yeah, absolutely. There was something in it for both, the good fast bowlers and for the spinners. And if you applied yourself, there were runs to be made on that pitch. So it was a really good test wicket pitch, I think, because I think people have just got used to the accelerated pace of rank turners now in India. They just want things to keep happening every other over, every other session, Like sometimes test cricket is played at a slightly slower pace, and that's all right.
Correct. हर बार आदत हो गई है हम सबको धीरे-धीरे बेसबॉल की वजह से, छोटे-छोटे टेस्ट मैचेस की वजह से कि टेस्ट मैच ना 2-3 दिन में खत्म हो जाता है. बट एज जॉर्ज सेड, एज नागा सेड, कि कभी-कभी ना उसकी पेस को गेज करना पड़ता है. आपको मजा उसी में है, स्लो बर्न में, स्लो ग्राइंड में. कभी-कभी पैसा टेस्ट क्रिकेट भी देख लेना चाहिए. लेकिन नाउ रीफोकस 245 रन का टारगेट है भारतीय अंडर 19 टीम के पास. अगर पहुंचना है उस फाइनल में तो उस स्कोर को चेस करने के लिए अर्शिन कुलकर्णी की बहुत जरूरत पड़ने वाली है. भारतीय टीम के ओपनर, उनके साथ हमने करी कुछ चर्चा. आइए सुनते हैं.
There was no pressure in following that profession, because from the first time I made it clear that I don't want to be a doctor. I just want to play. And it has always been my parents who have been supported me. They have never ever told me to study, to do this. They have never ever restricted me for playing any match. Even in my 10th boards, I was going and playing the match and also practicing on the same day. I played a lot of gully cricket. In fact, double tennis cricket has helped me. When the lockdown was going on, I was playing in my society, and before that I didn't had a big 6 hitting capacity. So we played. I just went around 6 a.m. in the morning and came directly around 4 p.m. So I was just whole day playing lawn tennis cricket. It helped me a lot. My height, my physique also helped me, and sometimes I was not getting chances as a leg spinner. So I just decided that there are very less pace bowling all-rounders who can also bat and also give a help with the ball. So I just tried and then I got used to it. My favorite jersey number was 3 first. So my player Adarsh Singh took it. So I decided to be 33 because of double 3, and my favorite player also Hardik Pandya.
कुछ दिन पहले हमने एक स्टोरी भी देखी थी हार्दिक पांड्या से, उन्होंने कहा वेल प्लेड एंड दैट्स अ नाइस जर्सी नंबर, बट गली क्रिकेट से फायदा होता है। मम्मी मैं आपको कहता था, आप सुनती नहीं थी मेरी बात। सो व्हाट कि मेरे पास हाइट नहीं है, स्किल नहीं है, वो सब बातें बाद में करेंगे। बट आज 245 रन चाहिए भारतीय टीम को टू मेक इट टू द फाइनल ऑफ द आईसीसी अंडर 19 वर्ल्ड कप। Go tune into the Star Sports Network. That chase begins. Big thanks to George Binoy. Big thanks to Nagaraj Golapuri for joining with us today on Follow the Blues Live. Big thanks to all of you as well. We will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Let's go. Tune into the Star Sports Network.